Okay, apart from this sensitivity, Julie.
Okay, good morning. Aisha Janine Rukum. I will be talking about deep sensitivity. So deep sensitivity is conveyed by the dorsal column medial lemniscal system, which stands for DCML. So DCML is a cross system. It originates from the mechanoreceptors, and then it's also located in the body wall, and then it projects to the contralateral cerebral hemisphere via a 3-neuron projection system. It's comprised of fasciculus, gracilis, and then also the fasciculus, gracilis, and then the fasciculus Cuneatus. So let's talk about the Fasciculus gracilis first, the behavioral description of it. So what it is it's light when there's light touch or vibration, and then position sense from the contralateral leg as well as the lower trunk. So it normally happens in the lower body. It consists of 3 neurons, which extend from the receptors in the periphery to the primary somatosensory cortex. Okay. When we talk about the neuroanatomical description of it, so the first order neurons, the cell body is in the dorsal root ganglion, and in the distal axon, it innervates the mechanoreceptors in the leg and the lower trunk via the peripheral nerves. And the proximal axon enters the dorsal column, and then it ascends apsilaterally and terminates into the nucleus gracilis. So apsilaterally means it's on the same side still. It doesn't cross over, it stays on the same side. And then the second order neuron, the cell body is the nucleus gracilis, and then the axon, it decussates in the medulla. Decussate meaning it crosses over in the medulla, and then it projects to the contralateral thalamus via the medial lemniscus. The third order neuron, which is the VPL of the thalamus, which stands for ventral posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. The axon of it extends via the posterior limb of the interior capsule, and then it terminates in the primary somatosensory cortex. When we talk about Fasciculus Cuneatus, the behavioral description, when there is light touch, vibration, and then the position sense from the contralateral arm in the upper trunk. It consists of 3 neurons as well, which extend from the receptors in the periphery to the primary somatosensory cortex. The neuroanatomical description of it, the first order neuron, also in the dorsal root ganglion, and then it innervates the mechanoreceptors in the arm and in the upper trunk via the peripheral nerves, and then it enters the proximal axon, will enter the dorsal column, and then it will ascend apsilaterally and then terminate in the nucleus cuneatus. The second order neuron, in the nucleus cuneatus, the axon of it will decussate, which is a crossover again in the medulla, and then it will project to the contralateral thalamus via the medial lemniscus. And then the third order, which is the same as, which will do the same thing as the Fasciculus gracilis, third order neuron, it will ascend via the posterior limb of the internal capsule, and then it terminates in the primary somatosensory cortex. When we talk about the lesions of, when we talk about the lesions of the Fasciculus gracilis, it's normally of the left side, the Fasciculus gracilis of the left side. it normally happens at the 8th thoracic vertebra, and it's caused by the absence of light touch. It causes the absence of light touch and vibration in the position sensation in the left leg and the lower trunk. And it normally only happens or exists below the 6th thoracic vertebra. Okay. This happens because the tract has not yet decussated, and then the impairment is apsilateral to the lesion, and then the lesion of the first order neuron interrupts the ascending information, so the light touch vibration and the position sensation is impaired in the left leg and in the lower trunk as well. The receptors and the reflex connections below the lesion level remain intact. When we talk about a lesion in the dorsal columns on the left, we can say that it normally happens, the damage to the left dorsal column at the 2nd thoracic vertebra. It causes the absence of light touch, vibration, and position sensation in the left side of the body below the lesion level. And it happens because the lesion involves the first order neurons that have not yet decussated impairment and is apsilateral to the lesion because both Gracilis and Cuneatus are damaged. So the light touch, the vibration, and the position sensation is impaired in the left trunk. So the left trunk, the leg, and the arm below the lesion level. The receptors and the reflex connections below the lesion level remain intact as well. So those are the two lesions for the deep sensitivity. Thank you, doctor.
Thanks for your presentation. Please, next.
So can I start?
Yes, Ala.
Okay. Hello, everyone. You can see the presentation, right? Hello?
No.